There is a place on this planet that no road has ever reached. No scheduled ship travels there. No flight path crosses its skies. And the nearest human beings are astronauts. 400 kilometers above, orbiting on the International Space Station. This place has no official name on most maps. No country claims it. No flag has ever been planted there. And yet, it exists right now, on this Earth, in this century. Welcome to the most isolated corner our planet has to offer. Welcome to Terra Enigma. This is Impossible Places, a series where we find the locations that should not exist, cannot be reached, and defy every expectation of what it means to be somewhere on Earth. Today, we are covering two of the most extreme examples of isolation our planet has ever produced. First, Point Nemo, a coordinate in the middle of the Pacific Ocean so remote that it holds an official scientific title, the Oceanic Pole of Inaccessibility. And second, Tristan da Cunha, the most remote permanently inhabited island on the surface of the Earth, home to 250 people and 2,400 kilometers from the nearest city. Let's begin. Point Nemo, 48 degrees south, 123 degrees west. If you were standing there, if you could stand there, you would see nothing but water in every direction, as far as the eye could see, and then further, and then more. The name Nemo comes from the Latin word for no one. It was also the name Jules Verne chose for his fictional submarine captain, a man who lived beneath the ocean, away from the world. Fitting, because Point Nemo is the single point on Earth that is furthest from any land. In all directions, the nearest coastline is approximately 2,688 kilometers away. To give you a sense of scale, that's roughly the distance from London to Cairo, in every single direction. Just ocean. Now here's where it gets stranger. The International Space Station orbits Earth at an altitude of around 400 kilometers. When it passes over Point Nemo, the astronauts inside are the closest human beings to that spot on the surface. Think about that. The nearest humans to a point on Earth are not on Earth. But Point Nemo isn't just an empty curiosity. It serves a very specific, very practical purpose. It is the spacecraft cemetery of our planet. For decades, space agencies around the world, NASA, ESA, Roscosmos, have been deliberately crashing their decommissioned satellites and space stations into this region of the ocean. Why here? Because it's the safest place to land debris without threatening any human population. Over 260 spacecraft have been brought down here, including entire space stations. The Russian Mir space station, once the largest object ever placed in orbit, rests on the ocean floor at Point Nemo. Right now, somewhere beneath that empty ocean is a graveyard of machines that once looked down on us from space. There are no ships that pass regularly, no submarines that survey the area. For most practical purposes, Point Nemo is the most alone any place on Earth can be. Now let's talk about people, because Point Nemo is isolated, but no one lives there. Tristan da Cunha is different. People choose to live there. Tristan da Cunha is a British overseas territory, a volcanic island sitting alone in the South Atlantic Ocean. Its coordinates, 37 degrees south, 12 degrees west. The nearest landmass with a significant population is St. Helena Island, 2,437 kilometers away. The nearest continent, South Africa, is 2,787 kilometers away. There are no airports on Tristan da Cunha. The only way to reach it is by boat, and boats only come 6 times a year. The journey from Cape Town takes 7 days at sea. 7 days, one way. And yet, 250 people call this island home. They have families there, children born there, Some families have lived on this island for 7-8 generations. The island has one school, one small hospital, one store, which sells everything the island needs. The entire community lives in the settlement of Edinburgh of the Seven Seas, the world's most remote permanent settlement. Now you might ask, why do they stay? The answer, according to the islanders themselves, is simple. It's home. In 1961, a volcanic eruption forced the entire population to evacuate to England. The British government assumed they would stay, that life in modern England would be preferable to their remote island. They were wrong. Within 2 years, almost every single islander had returned to Tristan da Cunha. They had left the television, the supermarkets, the noise, the traffic, and sailed back into the middle of the South Atlantic, back to their island, back to their silence, back to the most remote home on the surface of the earth. 2 places, 2 kinds of isolation. Point Nemo. No one goes there. Nothing lives on its surface. It is the absence of humanity made into a location. Tristan da Cunha. 250 people decided that this remote corner of the world was worth everything, worth 7 generations, worth volcanic eruptions, worth 7 days at sea. Both tell us something important about how large this planet still is, about how much of it remains beyond easy reach, about the fact that in an age of satellites and smartphones, there are still places that take genuine effort, genuine commitment, genuine courage to reach. Point Nemo is also increasingly important to climate science. The South Pacific Gyre, the ocean current system surrounding it, is one of the least studied regions on Earth. Scientists are only beginning to understand how its isolation affects global ocean circulation and, by extension, our climate. And Tristan da Cunha. In 2020, the island and its surrounding waters became one of the largest marine protected areas on Earth. 687,000 square kilometers of ocean protected from industrial fishing. The world's most isolated community is now also one of its greatest conservation stories. In our next episode of Impossible Places, we're going somewhere that you can only reach by crossing a desert, a mountain range, and a border that closes without warning. If you want to know where, you know what to do. If you made it this far, you're exactly the kind of person this channel was made for. Terra Enigma exists for the curious, for the ones who look at a map and wonder what's really there, for the ones who aren't satisfied with the obvious answer. If that's you, subscribe. We have a lot more ground to cover. Drop a comment below. Which impossible place should we visit next? The most isolated mountain, the most unreachable forest, the border that no one can legally cross. You decide. We'll find it. See you in the next one.